Hello there folks, and how are yous all doing? This is Ray Dolan at 12 in association with the Collinstown Farmers Market, and we bring you the 12 bongs because it's time for the 12 bongs. Okay, bong, 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 bong. And I have a VIP, our special guest, on board as well. And if my camera will turn around, we can get Anne Griffin, the writer, to give us 4 bongs.
Bong, 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 bong.
Very, very good. Practicing all morning, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot believe the amount of effort has gone into the bongs here on this show. Well, sorry, 4 more. Bong, 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 bong. And that is complete, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see in the background, we've dickied it up, as my father says. We put in a bit of cloth this evening because we have a VIP, yes, a Mullingar writer, a lady with so much writing I had to do today. It's unbelievable, the amount of work this woman has done and the accolades she has received. Okay, carrying on with the show. Our shout outs, ladies and gentlemen, and birthday shout outs coming to you from the bus. We have Kira Smith, who'd like to wish her best friends, like at school, Mairead Westman Farrell. It's your birthday, so happy birthday to you, Mairead. And Leo Farrell and Vicky, they have a beautiful daughter. And do you know what? She is Maya, M-A-Y-A, and she is 1 year of age today, 1 year old. That is unbelievable. A brand new baby and 1 year old. So happy, happy birthday to you, Mia, or M-A-Y-A, Maya. And Jerry Caffrey, otherwise known as Purdy, as we grew up as kids, and from Mullingar in Mullingar, and a happy birthday to you, Purdy. And Martina Cassidy, and she's from Mullingar, and it's your birthday. Happy birthday to you. And Emma Lynch, who's in Dunleohio, happy birthday to you, Emma, from all who love you. And Mags O'Brien, who's in Cork, wishing you a happy birthday from us all here in the bus. We've Magellan Nally, born, bred and reared in Mullingar, happy birthday to you. And Mickey Clinton, it's your birthday. Another Mullingar man. Fergie Quinn, and he's from Rahue in County Westmeath, and it's your birthday, wishing you a happy birthday. Martin Orr, O-R-R, and he is from Letterkenny, and he's a singer-songwriter and an absolute gentleman. It's your birthday, Martin. Happy birthday to you. And Louise Buckley in Dysart, County Westmeath, it's your birthday. Happy birthday to you. And Adrienne, A-D-R-I-E-N-N-E, Adrienne, and Corcoran, and we know each other very well. It's just I can't get her name right anytime I meet her. So I've written down, and I probably still have not got it right, but she is with Liffey Sound Radio. And a big shout out to you, my dear, and hope you're having a super birthday. Mary C-O-R-N-N-E-L-I, Cornelli, and she is in Westport, wishing you a happy birthday too. And Gloria Sherry, and that's Gloria, one day at a time, sweet Jesus, I think. She had that huge, massive hit going way back, and ladies and gentlemen, it's her birthday today. And Caroline Ward, who is in Dublin, wishing you a happy birthday. And Angela Wilson in Mullingar, it's your birthday. And Melanie Boyland from Mullingar, yes, it's your birthday too. And Mary Heavey, it's your birthday. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Facebook friends. Happy birthday to you. Yes, indeed, we are moving along nicely, and I can't wait to introduce my special guest. What a legend. Okay, moving on. Our food shout out competition winner is Mr. Chef. Yes, in the middle of Mullingar there, straight across from the Credit Union. Very, very nice takeaway food. Yes, because that's the way we're eating now. We're just buying it and taking it away. No one wants to cook either. Facebook recommendations. It's Monument Ireland. M-O-N-U-M-A. Yeah, Monumental Ireland. I tried to tag it there on Facebook and it wouldn't stick. But not to worry. They are a fantastic page. And they show you the culture of our beautiful island. Moving on slowly, we have a shop local pick of the day. It's 3345records.com, and they're down directly across from Caffrey's Pub. As you see, we're giving you all the references of hostilleries in the town, and big shout out to you guys and wishing you the very best. Once again, we'd like to thank Tom Birmingham for taking the time to introduce our show today. Good man, Tom. That's Tom Birmingham's a fantastic shop. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, the Downs GAA jackpot is 6,800. The competition or the lotto will be on once again on Monday next, the 31st. And they had some winners last night. Jerry Dunn won €50. Lena Ronan won €50. And Ed Quinlan won €50 in the Downs Lotto on a Monday. But don't forget, on Friday they're giving away more money in the Downs Lotto or bingo, and that is on at 8:30. So if you want to get your bingo book, and if you don't have one, get the printer out and print it. No matter where you are in the world, you can play Downs bingo on a Friday night at 8:30 Irish time, or Mullingar time as we say. You can contact them or ring them, go to the Facebook page, get the phone number, ring them, and they can have your book ready for you at a Pacific time. You can organise that with them. Very, very good deeds that they're doing, and great amount of money they're giving away. Once again, if you'd like to join us on board the bus, ladies and gentlemen, you are very, very welcome indeed. Tell your story or promote your business. Yes, so just send us a message, a PM as they say in the business. Now, our special guest, lady Anne Griffin is her name. She's a Mullingar writer. She's an author of #1 bestseller. She had the #1 bestseller was called When All Is Said, and what a bestseller it was. And as I said, it was like the first album, as her husband said. Now, a bit of information on this legend that we have on board. I've never done this before, but every day is a learning day. Her name is Anne Griffin, and she's AnneGriffinTheWriter.com. She has a BA in history from UCD. Correct. 8 years working in Waterstone in Dublin and London. Went back to college to undertake a postgraduate diploma in community and youth work in Maynooth University. What a legend. And has worked with various charities over the last 20 years, including Women's Aid, Youth Work Ireland and Dyslexia. Bit of that myself. Association. You can do a whole course with me. And since writing in 2013, she has received many awards, including the John McGahan Award and awards for short stories, because she'd done short stories before she'd done the big story, and that was called a novel. This is all learning for me, lads. And all her books are in good bookstores, including Mullingar, Just Books and Eason's. So, no further ado, turn on my camera. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have on board with us Anne Griffin, the Mullingar writer and legend. Anne, you're very welcome on board. And just before we continue, we've done a fierce amount of effort here, ladies and gentlemen.
Beautiful.
The first book was this one. No, that's the last. This is the last book. This is When All Is Said, and many people have written and read this book all over the country. We brought some tea. We have some cake. We brought a flower because the last time she was on board she got a flower, and we brought some whiskey. As you can see, we're doing very well with this bottle. Just one shot apiece. Anne, welcome on board.
It's so great to be here. You're so good to have me back.
With
the second book, you're really good. Thank
we
you so
are
much.
delighted to have you back, and it's a privilege for us because you are one hell of a legend, and we were invited to the launch of your book. And I just looked at it the other day. I managed, when I went down, I was wearing a scarf and a coat and all these things. It was cold, but we were inside, and there was a roof over our heads.
In the library. Lovely, lovely launch. That was just fantastic.
Absolutely class, and the whole town turned up.
Seemed to be.
Yeah, it was a real blast altogether. The book went extremely well for you.
Yeah. As soon as it came out in January 2019, it went to #1 bestseller here in Ireland, which was phenomenal. And for a debut author, was really unusual. And it went from strength to strength. It just... Maurice Hannigan, who's the main character in the book, seems to have captured the hearts of people, and it is since published in the States and in 20 foreign languages. It continues to just go around the world, and I continue to receive emails and messages from people who say have just read it, and they're saying, wow, thank you very much, that was a great book. So it's just such an honour.
Well, that was the reason that we brought out the bottle of whiskey, because it was set in a pub, but the new book is set in a different area of the pub altogether. And it's called Listening Still and Griffin. And you've gone with sort of that same style and same colour as well.
Yeah.
Did you have anything to do with the picking of the colour of this?
When you are working with your publishing house, they give you a few choices,
Yeah.
but they particularly might be pushing one or two.
Uh-huh.
And luckily enough, I absolutely adored that cover as soon as I saw
Class,
it.
yeah.
It was beautiful. But they did come up with other ones. They said, okay, well, this is our first go. Let's see if we can get some other ones, see if you like them. And we just kept coming back to that one.
But I find even when you're making a video with someone, the first video is always the best. You can do a whole pile of them after and it sort of loses energy or it just disappears. But as well, it's like a decision.
Yeah.
Boom. The decision is made and you're happy with it and you work. So this book, as it's called, the second album by your husband. And now we're not in the music business, we're in the publishing business.
Yes.
And he's in another business altogether. Another area. But this book is a totally different book. Just don't give away the story, but sort of give us an idea.
Well, it's the story of a woman called Jeannie Masterson, who's 32 years of age, and she is a funeral director in a fictional Midlands town. And on the day we meet her, her father has announced he's leaving the entire business to her.
Right.
And he's expecting her to be delighted, but she's not. She's quite shocked, and she's beginning to wonder, is this what I really want? And one of the things about this girl, and I will say this bit, I let this bit out, is that Jeannie can hear the dead.
Oh.
So for a few minutes as they lie before her in her care, on the embalming table or in the coffin, they speak to her, and they are there to ask her to help them to resolve something they were unable to when they were alive.
The hair is standing on my legs and from my head.
So they give her this burden of truth, and really, it is a weight. It's a big, huge, weighty obligation that sometimes she feels, I don't know if I can do this. So it's the story of her and how she resolves this issue and how she really finds her own voice and her own what she wants in life and what she's willing to fight for.
That's like life.
Indeed. But all books are they not? I mean, books are just a reflection back to us of who we are as human beings and all of our flaws and all of our weaknesses. And one of the things I love about reading is when I come across something and I go, I know exactly what they're talking about. Oh my God, that is me. And it just, I don't know, it's a comfort to me when I read these things. And so I suppose even though it's set in an unusual setting, there is just the ordinary everyday in this book as well. And I hope people enjoy Jeannie Masterson in Listening Still as much as they did Maurice Hannigan sitting at the bar in When All Is Said.
Absolutely, and as I said, it's like the second album, and it's sort of it's taken off. But you done the first sort of release, unusual. You done a Zoom with Graham Norton. I mean, I'm not going to start cursing, but how did he get involved?
Well, Graham was a great support with When All Is Said.
Right.
He read a very early proof. Proofs are the books that come out that are sent to reviewers and stuff before the actual book hits the shelf.
Yeah.
And he was sent one. And he loved it. And he tweeted about it way before the book was published.
Wow.
And then when the book came out, then he invited me over to be on a show on Radio 2, on BBC Radio 2 in London. And that was obviously a fantastic day. And he's just been a great supporter ever since. And his own book, Homestretch, the paperback of it was coming out on the exact date that my second book was launching. And so my editors approached his editors and said, would he be interested in doing a combined event?
And is he on the same label?
The house, it's the publishing house is the same. We're on different labels within that publishing house. If you understand me, it's a huge big publishing house we're both in. And so yes, that's how it happened, and it was the most magnificent evening. I had such fun. I really did. I mean, Graham is one of those people like yourself, Ray, who's just really approachable, real down to earth, and you just have the crack.
Yeah.
And so we did it. What was lovely was that there were 4 shops involved in this. One
Right.
small independent bookseller in Wales called Griffin Books.
Wow.
Yeah, lovely. And 3 little indies here in Ireland, the Maynooth Bookstore, Antonia's Bookstore, and Woodbine Books in Kildare. And so they were the people who were selling the books. So if you logged on to be in the event, you could buy a book from them. So it was lovely to support the small independent booksellers, just like Just Books here in Mullingar. And so I was so proud to be a part of that. And as I say, it was just one of the nicest events I have done.
How did you research this book?
Well,
How do you research a
it
book?
required quite a bit of research,
Yeah.
because obviously I'm not a funeral director. And so I rang up the wonderful Joan and Con Gilson
Wow.
in Mullingar, and I said, you haven't a clue who I am? Because I hadn't even, when all I said hadn't even come out at that stage. So it wasn't like I could say, here's my book. So I'm a genuine author.
Yeah.
And I said, could I meet with you, Con? I just want to sit down and have a chance for you to tell me what it is to be a funeral director. And they were so welcoming and so kind. And so we had a lovely afternoon sitting in comms, talking to Con Gilson about what it was to be a funeral director. And thereafter I met 2 other funeral directors, and I did a lot of YouTube searching around embalming and stuff like that. And not that this book has any kind of embalming details.
I know, yeah. But you have to go into the depth. Yeah.
And then, after that it was, I watched the whole of 6 Feet Under, which I don't know if you remember, the HBO series that was back in like the noughties. Because I hadn't watched it when it was the big thing.
Right.
So I watched the whole of that.
Yeah.
And I read as many books as I could find on the industry. There was a great one called Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, which is by Kathleen Doty, and she was a New York Times #1 bestseller, and it was all about her time working in a crematorium. So I just filled up on that, and spent quite a bit of time online looking at funeral supply online stores. All the things you would need for running a funeral directors. So I did. It was great. I mean, it was really, really interesting.
Yeah.
I enjoyed researching it so much.
Yeah, but I mean, as I say, you're not into the dark side anyway. But I mean, well, I don't know dark side. I mean, it's the other side maybe.
Yeah. But I have an interest. I mean, I do think there is a mystery around death, and I mean, naturally, funeral directors, when you pass them by, the doors are closed. It's all very solemn, as it should be, and respectful for the clients. But I suppose I've always wanted to know what goes on behind behind that closed door.
Yeah.
Because there has to be ordinary, everyday stuff that goes on there as well.
Yeah.
And
stories and fun.
Exactly.
and yeah, because it's the whole, so if someone has been buried, it's a huge thing, because everything has to be right, everything has to be correct, everyone has to be happy.
Yes.
Everyone has to pull together. Everyone sometimes doesn't pull together. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. Now it's the end of a life, but it's the beginning of something different again.
Exactly.
So, and it's life as well.
Yes.
But it's a very interesting idea and a very interesting concept that you came up with in this sort of unusual time that we are living in as well.
Yeah.
But I don't think it feeds into that either. I think it feeds into more life than anything else. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I think one of the things that I was struck by with meeting the funeral directors was, one, how welcoming they are and how much they want people to embrace this part of life, but also about their respect that they held for not just the dead but for the living. And I was just, I came away from speaking to these people feeling like, I will be cared for. My family will be cared for.
Yeah.
And that was really comforting for me. And it was something I didn't expect, right? And what I did not expect is for me to walk away with knowing exactly how I wanted my funeral to be.
Yeah.
And, what I'd like, for how I want my, whether I'm going to be cremated.
Whether you're the old wicker basket or you're buried underneath a tree or...
Yeah, and I ended up having a great conversation then with my husband and son and saying, right, so this is what I want.
This is it, lads.
It was just wonderful. It was really, really nice. And I felt much more much more at one with death.
Mm-hmm.
Which was one of the big things that one funeral director in Bammer in particular he was the then secretary of the Professional Embalmers Association of Ireland. He said, we really want to welcome people into this. We want it to stop being a mystery.
Yeah.
We want people to really be okay about it and not to be worried when they come through those doors. It is obviously a very, very sad time for people. But I loved that. I loved how those doors opened for me completely.
Right. So what's the plans then for the book? You've launched it?
So it's been launched
with Graham Norton.
That's right.
That was one of the launches. How does she continue on the jet to number one?
Well, I suppose there's been I was on the 6 o'clock show. It's kind of all happened now because it's in the first couple of weeks of publication that you do a lot of media stuff. So I was on with Pat Kenny and on the 6 o'clock show, and I've done a few regional radio interviews. I've got a few more coming up. So and after that, it's just book clubs are fantastic. Book clubs picking it up. It's brilliant, and I've done a lot for When All Is Said. I'd be doing Zoom meetings with book clubs who,
wow.
So you just keep going.
So do you work at this every day? You get up at 8 o'clock and you get the breakfast and you get all the lads out of the house and then it's time for work?
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean the book is made, the book is done, it's printed, it's absolutely, but it doesn't stop. It's like business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm writing my third book at the minute.
Oh, brilliant.
But I obviously took a break from that for the last month because I was doing a lot of feature articles for various newspapers, and then there was the interviews and the launch. So it took a bit of time out of that, and in the next week or so now I'm getting back into writing again. So basically it's a 9-to-5 job like anybody else. In fact, obviously it can go into evenings as well because a lot of people...
The finance end of it, I mean, fair enough, you sold a number one book and more than likely it's hard to get a few pound out of the business. Now you're sponsored in a way, are you?
So how the book industry works is if you get a book contract with a publisher, they will pay you in advance. They will come up. They have some financial systems for figuring out how much they think this book is going to make, and you will get royalties from that. You will get X amount of percentage royalties. Okay, but they give you an advance based on how much they think that's going to bring in and how much they think they will be giving you. So they pay you straight up. Or they may pay you in increments in order that you can have a year or two working with them on the book. So they're giving you an advance. It's simply an advance, and then once you pay back that advance, then the royalties will kick in. So you're kind of living off lump sums that they may have given you throughout. Now I'm very lucky in that my book has sold well, and it'll possibly make back that advance. But there are many authors where that advance is never made back, and so they may not get royalties.
Ah, right, yeah.
And that will then be the case with, say, I got a deal in France and I got a deal in Germany. Now these advances are much, they're small advances. But you may never get royalties from them, so you're just living off that advance.
Exactly. So, and it's like that work ethic. You have to continue with the work, and you have to have the next album ready or the next book ready. So you have to really it's like a big wheel, and once the wheel is moving, she's moving fast now, or she's moving slow now.
And there could be days when it's like, oh God, there's nothing. Who wants to read my books? Like you're on your own dealing with. Like anybody who's self-employed, you've got those doubts in your head. Am I doing good enough? Am I doing enough? Am I doing, and so that's not just about the promotion of your book, but it's also about the quality of your product. So you're sitting there every day, you're writing, and you're going, well, that was crap today. That was really bad what I just wrote.
And you're able to do that to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. But what you need really is somebody to come in and say, do you know what, don't worry about it. But generally you don't. You're working on your own, so you're
putting that book together now, I mean, how long, so right, you have the idea and we have the basis of it, we have the plan made, and then we start writing it out. Does it all come, you write it down, that's it, it's done, job? No? No?
I I'd love if it was that simple. Yeah, that you could just write a masterpiece in one big, long run. No, because writing is all about rewriting, and writing is all about editing. So what generally happens for me is that I would be maybe about a year writing a draft that I think is good enough for my editor to read. Then the editor reads it, and then possibly you're into another year of reworking the book.
Wow.
So, I suppose about 2 years for me from beginning to end, before then you even get into that point of what'll the cover be like,
Yeah.
So it's at least 2 years. I mean, 2 years is possibly.
You started writing in 2013, so that was 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Now take 2 years out, you still have a lot left there. You wrote a lot of short stories then at that time, did you?
Yeah, in the beginning I wrote short stories. And I suppose writing short story for a beginner is a really good thing to do, because it's small scale. You're able to kind of go back and rework it easily enough. You're not trying to remember, like when you write a book, you're not even trying to remember what was the name of that street that they just walked down. Like, you can quickly go back through short.
Yeah.
So you're not dealing with the kind of the immensity and the volume of information that you have in a book. And that's how you hone your craft, really, in the short stories. Now, it's not my favourite form. My favourite form is the longer novel.
Yeah.
But like just the other day, I went back to a short story that I've been writing for about 7 years now, that I've never, that hasn't seen the light of day, really. And so it's kind of, it's a nice way for me to relax as well, to go back to things that I'm still working on,
And would you read regularly then as well, in the middle of all this?
Oh, you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't be a writer without being a reader. That's like saying I'm really into fashion, but I don't really wear clothes, Like, you have to read. You have to be a great reader. One of the things I found during COVID, when I was writing, listening still during COVID when the first wave came. And I was doing a big rewrite of it. Like, I was changing the book around completely, actually. And I would be getting stuck. I'd be like, oh, God, I don't know what to do with this. And I'd just take up a book. And I would just, I'd read whatever book I was reading at the time. So I'd be taking a break. I'd be taking a break, one, to relax my mind, but two, to figure out how is this person dealing with scenes. And whatever it was, just in that lovely relaxation of reading and then just trying to look out for something would click in my head, and I'd go, okay, I got it, and back in. So you have to be a reader. You have to be a reader because you have to understand what is good storytelling and how you do it.
Exactly, because in a way I have built myself up to be extremely busy in my own head. and then I sit down and say, all right, take a break now. And you're sitting down and you're going, oh, yeah, thinking back about that, yeah. Oh, that's it there. And then back down and write down that piece.
Yeah.
So in a way it's actually giving your brain a little time to slow up, because you're flat out, like stuck to the mat, like, and you're not giving yourself a chance to think.
Absolutely. And it's like I couldn't write like for 7 hours either. Like the brain would just. I am brain dead after about 3 solid hours of good writing. I'd have to step away from it and possibly do something else. I don't know. There's usually some admin I have to do or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, the brain does need to stop. And you know what? As a writer, some of your best ideas come when you're just even walking down the street and you see something and you go, that is the answer there.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that rumination that goes on. I'm already thinking about book 4.
There you are. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, this is the lady herself. This is her #1 seller. This is the first album, as I say. 5 toasts, 5 people, and 1 lifetime. That's the first one. But this is the new baby here, and with the help of good old Graham, gave her the launch there a few weeks ago, and it's going to be, well, it's out at the moment because I got a copy in Mullingar. And look, guys, this is the lady. If you want to get in contact with her, she's on AnnaGriffin.com.
Griffin Writer.
Writer.com, yeah, because I went looking for you and I put in Anne Griffin and a pile of them came up, and then I went, check that again, Ray. She's a writer. So once again, thank you, Anne Griffin.
A joy as ever.
And I'll just turn my camera around here, and as we have all our friends looking in on Instagram there as well, and they are all just looking in, which is great. Right, guys, you want to check her out? She's on Instagram, I'd say, as well, are you?
Oh, I am indeed.
Right, and she's down as the writer. Bye. Okay, get that one there. And then we'll just get a quick chat back and just see who is on board the bus today. Yes, indeed. Who have we got? We've got ladies sending us buses. Thank you for that. Ken Walsh looking in there, and he says, good afternoon, legend. And good afternoon, legend to you, Ken Walsh. And Bridget Nielsen's looking in there from London. Hello to you. And Karina Ball is looking in from Holland. Yes, this book can be got in Holland.
The first one is indeed available in Holland. Oh yes, and the second one, yes, will be available this year or next year.
There you are, Karina. If you like reading, this lady will bring you on a journey of Irish culture, as well as a fantastic visual memory of Ireland, and a look into our culture as well, because we have an amazing culture. Rebecca is looking in there from London or Limerick. She's all over the world, this woman. She's back and forward. And Lizzie Farrell's looking in there. It says, good afternoon, Lizzie. She's looking in from Dublin. Teresa's looking in from Eden Derry. And who else have we got? Yes, indeed, Agnes Moore. Thank you very much. Like the new decorations. Thanks, Agnes. Agnes looking in over the dish. I knew you were watching us. Valentina's looking in there from Bucharest. And thank you very much for that. And Sally is looking in there. Very good, and that's Sally Taylor coming in from Derry, and she's wishing you the very, very best. Sally, do you read books? Because this lady has some great books. Really enjoy the interview. And that's Lizzie Farr. Bingo, thank you, Lizzie Farr, you legend. And my friend's sister's name is Anne Griffin as well. Does she use an E? No, but your friend's sister's name is Anne, A-N-N-E. She uses an Anne, and I was calling her Annie, but it's not, it's Anne. We'll have to talk to her mother about that one. Lizzie Farr, once again, have to get your book? Yeah, you can get in Mullingar, or you can get in Dublin, in all, it's in Eason's as well.
It's on ebook, and it's on audio as well, audio download.
I might get that, because I find it very hard to read. So once again, from Anne Griffin on board the bus, good luck to you all, and have a super day. Bye for now.
Bye.